Iron Resurrection is an automotive reality series that follows a master metal fabricator, Joe Martin, and his skilled team as they take on various rusted and old projects.
Iron Resurrection is taking things that the world has given up on and turning them into something priceless. On the surface, it's a feel-good reality series about craftsmanship, but beneath the paint jobs and big reveals lies a far heavier reality. The truth is, behind the cameras, cast members deal with pressure most viewers never see. Long hours, physical exhaustion, health battles, and personal struggles that don't disappear when an episode ends. These are the stories of the beloved Iron Resurrection members whose lives took tragic turns, because not every restoration comes with a happy ending. Number 8. Mike Zabonic. Mike Zabonic was never meant to be a television star, and that's exactly why viewers connected with him so deeply. From the earliest seasons of Iron Resurrection, Mike stood out as the kind of craftsman who didn't need flashy moments or loud opinions to make an impact. He was steady, reliable, and the kind of person every shop depends on, but rarely celebrates enough. On screen, Mike was often seen quietly working in the background, cutting, welding, fabricating, making sure builds stayed on track when deadlines loomed. While others handled negotiations or big reveals, Mike handled the foundation. Fans noticed that whenever Mike was involved in a project, things simply worked. There was no drama, no ego, just pure skill and discipline. That authenticity made him one of the most respected members of the Iron Resurrection crew. Behind the scenes, Mike's connection with Joe Martin ran far deeper than what viewers saw on camera. The two had worked together for nearly 15 years before the show ever existed.
You know, it's always nerve-wracking when you present these cars to the customer. What do you think, Teresa?
Their bond was built on trust, earned over countless long nights in the shop. When producers began assembling the cast, they weren't looking for actors. They were looking for real people who lived the lifestyle. Mike fit that mold perfectly, but as the show's popularity grew, so did the pressure. Iron Resurrection wasn't just a shop anymore. It became a production schedule, a brand, and a constant grind. Long hours, tight deadlines, and the physical toll of fabrication began to add up. Slowly, fans noticed Mike appearing less and less. Then, without any dramatic exit or explanation, he simply faded from view. In 2019, it became clear that Mike had made the difficult decision to step away from the show. Those close to the production later hinted that it wasn't about conflict or burnout from the crew, it was about health and personal priorities. While others thrived in the spotlight, Mike had never sought it out. He valued peace, privacy, and life beyond the cameras. Following his departure, Mike Zabonic completely vanished from the public eye. He didn't announce a new project, he didn't appear in interviews, and he never explained his exit. Over time, that silence led to widespread fan speculation. Many longtime viewers began to believe that Mike may have passed away, especially as years went by without a single public update or sighting. However, the truth is more complicated. There has never been an official statement, obituary, or confirmation from his family or the Iron Resurrection team. If something did happen, it was kept intensely private, out of respect for those closest to him. What is certain is that Mike's sudden disappearance left a noticeable void. His absence was deeply felt by both the crew and the fans, and the unanswered questions surrounding his fate only add to the mystery. Number 7. Joe Martin. Joe Martin was the face of Iron Resurrection, and no one can deny that. From the very first episode, Joe came across as someone who didn't just build cars, but lived and breathed them. While reality TV often exaggerates personalities, Joe's passion was unmistakably real. Every build mattered to him because he saw restoration as a form of art. Joe was born on April 16, 1969 in Austin, Texas, and his love for mechanics started early. While other kids were focused on toys, Joe was fascinated by engines, metal, and how things worked. He spent countless hours watching his father tinker with motors, absorbing knowledge that would later shape his entire future. One defining moment came when his father gifted him an old cruiser, and that's what quietly set Joe on the path that would eventually lead to Iron Resurrection. Before television ever entered the picture, Joe spent years grinding in small shops, taking risks others wouldn't. He wasn't afraid of failure, and he wasn't chasing fame. His goal was simple: turn forgotten machines into something unforgettable. That authenticity is what caught the attention of producers.
The up-and-comers, the young guys and gals that are out here that have never had a car out here, that's really, really cool.
When Iron Resurrection premiered in 2016, viewers knew they were watching someone who had already put in decades of work. As the show gained popularity, the workload intensified. Filming schedules tightened. Expectations grew. Builds became bigger, more complex, and far more demanding. Joe carried that pressure quietly. On screen, he remained calm, confident, and focused. Off-screen, the physical toll was building. In early 2021, everything changed. After what seemed like a normal day, Joe began experiencing severe chest pain. At first, he brushed it off, something many hardworking people do when they're used to pushing through discomfort. But the pain intensified, and it soon became clear that this wasn't something he could ignore. Joe had suffered a massive heart attack. The news sent shockwaves through the Iron Resurrection fan base. His wife, Amanda, shared the update publicly, and the reality of the situation hit hard. For a man whose entire life revolved around movement, momentum, and creation, being forced to slow down was devastating. Joe then had to step away from the show and from doing what he loved the most, because his body gave him no choice. Recovery wasn't quick or easy. The heart attack forced Joe to reevaluate everything: his workload, his health, and even his future. While Joe thankfully survived the heart attack, it marked a turning point that forever changed his role within Iron Resurrection. It exposed the hidden cost of relentless ambition and reminded viewers that behind every successful build is a person carrying unseen weight. Number 6. Javier "Shorty" Ponce. Mike and Joe were the Iron Resurrection cast members you'd recognize everywhere, but Shorty was the one turning raw metal into literal artwork. As the shop's lead painter, his work was impossible to miss. If a car rolled out looking flawless, bold, and unforgettable, chances were Shorty's hands were behind it. Unlike some of the louder personalities on the show, Shorty kept a low profile. He didn't chase camera time or drama. Instead, he focused on precision, patience, and getting things done the right way, even if it meant taking longer. That mindset earned him deep respect inside the shop and made him a fan favorite without him ever needing to try.
Small group of guys, tight-knit, and man, you can do anything.
But in 2022, Shorty's life took a sudden and terrifying turn. While riding his motorcycle in Texas, he was involved in a devastating accident. The crash left him with severe injuries, including multiple broken bones, chest trauma, and internal damage. He was rushed to the hospital and underwent several surgeries as doctors worked to stabilize him. Recovery was long and brutal. For someone whose career depended on steady hands and physical endurance, the road back was uncertain. The man who once stood for hours perfecting his paintwork now faced the task of relearning basic movements and managing constant pain. Shorty survived, but the accident permanently altered his life. While he eventually got back to normal, his future in the shop was no longer guaranteed. Number 5. Amanda Martin. Amanda Martin was never just the person handling numbers on Iron Resurrection. She was the backbone that kept the entire operation standing. Amanda made sure the business survived behind the scenes, negotiating deals, managing finances, and protecting the future of every build that rolled through the doors. Born on December 11, 1973, in Red Oak, Texas, Amanda didn't come from the automotive world. Her early career was in banking, where she rose to become a vice president. When she met Joe Martin, she saw something others didn't: vision. While critics warned her that betting on custom builds was risky, Amanda walked away from a secure career and threw everything behind the shop.
I'm looking forward to all the people watching. That's one of the best parts of SEMA.
The two became life partners and professional partners and proved to be a deadly duo. That gamble paid off until life intervened. In 2023, Amanda revealed she had been diagnosed with postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, a condition that affects blood flow, heart rate, and overall energy levels. The symptoms were debilitating. Dizziness, weakness, and exhaustion became part of her daily life. Stepping away wasn't an option she embraced easily. Amanda continued working despite the physical toll, often pushing herself far beyond what was safe. In doing so, she became a symbol of resilience and showed how passion can help people push through even the most uncertain situations. Number 4. Thomas Pompa. Thomas Pompa was never the loudest presence on Iron Resurrection, but he was one of the most important. While viewers focused on the builds and big reveals, Thomas worked behind the scenes, making sure everything stayed on schedule. Deadlines, logistics, coordination. He was the glue holding the chaos together. Slowly, though, filming demands increased, timelines tightened, and mistakes became more costly. Thomas carried that stress quietly. He was known for thinking several steps ahead, constantly trying to prevent problems before they happened. But that constant state of urgency came at a price. In 2020, Thomas suffered a serious stroke in the middle of the night.
I thought it was a rattlesnake. Oh, what's up,
It was sudden and life-altering. The stroke affected his speech and coordination, forcing him into emergency medical care, followed by weeks of physical rehabilitation. While the shop continued moving forward, Thomas was fighting a completely different battle, learning how to recover basic functions and adjust to a new reality. His departure from the show wasn't planned, but he was left with no other choice. What made his absence especially painful for fans was the timing. Thomas had only recently started to become more visible on screen, and viewers were just beginning to understand how crucial he was to Iron Resurrection's success. Unfortunately, it was just too late. Number 3. Phil Kato. When fans talk about the quieter exits from Iron Resurrection, one name comes up again and again: Phil Kato.
My name is Phil Kato. I own Kato's Custom Upholstery out of Salt Lake City. We do hot rod interiors.
Unlike dramatic departures fueled by controversy or conflict, Kato's disappearance from the show happened almost silently. One season he was there, contributing to build and shop life, then suddenly he wasn't. No on-screen goodbye, no dramatic explanation, just absence. For a show built on consistency and chemistry, that silence was noticeable. Iron Resurrection had built a loyal audience that paid attention not just to the cars, but to the people. Viewers noticed when familiar faces vanished, and by early 2020, fans were openly asking what happened to these cast members who just vanished. Rumors started circulating online, ranging from internal disputes to health problems. But the truth turned out to be far less scandalous and far more human. In February 2020, the Iron Resurrection team finally addressed the speculation in a Facebook response to concerned fans. The explanation was simple and grounded. Phil Kato had stepped away from the show to take care of his family. More specifically, Kato decided to relocate his business and his life from Texas to Atlanta, Georgia, in order to support his wife through a major career change. That single choice changed everything. Iron Resurrection is filmed in Texas, centered around the day-to-day operations of Martin Bros Customs. Once Kato moved across the country, regular filming was no longer possible. Not long after the official statement, Phil Kato addressed fans directly through a video posted on his personal blog, philkato.com. In the video, he thanked viewers for the overwhelming support and concern, acknowledging the wave of messages he and his family had received. Kato made it clear that the move had been the right decision for his family. and reassured fans that the transition had gone smoothly. Perhaps most importantly, he emphasized that stepping away from Iron Resurrection didn't mean stepping away from cars. Based on his social media activity since the move, Kato continued working in the automotive world, applying his skills to new projects in Georgia. While the spotlight of reality television faded, the craft itself never left. Number 2. The legal battles behind the scenes. For most viewers, Iron Resurrection feels like a guaranteed happy ending.
This is Iron Resurrection.
A forgotten car comes in, a masterpiece rolls out, and everyone leaves smiling. But real life doesn't always follow a TV script, and in the late 2010s, that reality hit the shop hard. In 2018, Joe and Amanda Martin's business became the target of a high-profile civil lawsuit filed by a former customer. The complaint alleged that a restoration project had gone far over budget, missed agreed-upon timelines, and failed to meet expectations promised during the deal. According to the filing, the customer claimed they were left with a vehicle that wasn't completed as advertised, despite substantial payments already made. What made the situation especially damaging was the public perception. This was a dispute involving a televised brand. Every disagreement suddenly felt magnified. Fans who were used to seeing polished reveals began questioning what happened when cameras weren't around. The lawsuit pulled back the curtain on a side of custom car culture that most shows avoid. Vague timelines, evolving designs, cost overruns, and miscommunication. Restoration projects aren't assembly line jobs. Parts become unavailable, plans change mid-build, and artistic vision often clashes with customer expectations. In court, however, creativity doesn't matter. Contracts do. For Amanda Martin, the legal battle was especially personal. As the financial and operational backbone of the shop, she was forced to defend the business and her professional integrity. Legal fees piled up. Stress followed them home. Every decision made in the shop now carried the fear of another dispute. Eventually, the case was settled out of court, bringing the immediate conflict to an end. But the damage couldn't be undone overnight. The lawsuit left emotional scars and reshaped how the shop handled contracts, deposits, and communication moving forward. It also served as a sobering reminder that reality TV fame doesn't protect anyone from real-world accountability. For Iron Resurrection, this legal chapter marked a turning point. It exposed the fragile line between television magic and business reality. Number 1. Iron Resurrection's impact on car culture. What set Iron Resurrection apart was its commitment to authenticity. The team focused on preserving the soul of each vehicle, not just flipping it for profit. That philosophy was strengthened through collaborations with industry leaders like Classic Industries, whose extensive catalog of restoration and performance parts helped the shop maintain historical accuracy while pushing modern performance. Beyond the builds, the show inspired a massive community of gearheads and dreamers. It reminded viewers that every car has a story, and that resurrecting one often comes with sacrifice. At a time when reality television was dominated by manufactured drama and exaggerated personalities, Iron Resurrection stood out for one simple reason. It was built on genuine skill. The show wasn't about staged arguments or flashy egos. It was about the slow, difficult process of turning rusted, forgotten machines into functional works of art. And at the center of it all was Joe Martin, a craftsman who didn't chase television fame. Television came chasing him. Joe Martin's journey to Iron Resurrection didn't start with cameras. Long before the show premiered in 2016, he had already built a reputation in the custom car and motorcycle world. His shop, Martin Bros Customs, located in the Texas Hill Country of Blanco County, became known for high-end resto-mod projects that balanced authenticity with modern performance. Joe was practically reimagining vehicles. That reputation was cemented when he won Discovery's Biker Build-Off, a moment that put his work on the radar of television producers. Iron Resurrection capitalized on something gearheads crave: transformation. Each episode followed the same core idea. Take a rusted-out classic car or motorcycle that most people would give up on and resurrect it into something valuable again. Vehicles like vintage trucks, classic muscle cars, and rare finds such as a 1965 Buick Riviera weren't just rebuilt, they were respected. The show emphasized preserving the soul of a vehicle rather than stripping away its history. But Iron Resurrection wasn't a one-man operation. The heart of the show was the chemistry inside the shop. Alongside Joe was Amanda Martin, his wife and business partner. Amanda's background in banking made her the financial backbone of Martin Bros Customs. While Joe handled fabrication and design, Amanda handled budgets, negotiations, and logistics, ensuring that artistic ambition didn't destroy the business. Her presence grounded the show in reality, reminding viewers that passion alone doesn't pay the bills. Another lesser-known but important figure was Joe's brother, Jason Martin. While he avoided the spotlight, he remained involved behind the scenes and served as one of the show's producers. This kept Iron Resurrection grounded in authenticity. Decisions weren't made by outsiders chasing ratings, they were made by people who lived the work every day. What truly separated Iron Resurrection from similar shows was its refusal to rush the process. Restoration is unpredictable. Parts become unavailable. Costs escalate. Timelines stretch. The show didn't want to take away from those brutal realities. Instead, it showed how stressful and risky the business could be, even when things went right. That honesty resonated deeply with viewers, especially hardcore car enthusiasts. Iron Resurrection also evolved beyond television. Fans could follow ongoing projects through Martin Bros Customs' social media, where Joe shared updates with nearly 200,000 followers. The show built a community, one that inspired both seasoned builders and newcomers to pick up tools and start projects of their own. As seasons progressed, cast members came and went, but the core remained intact. While newer projects like Shorty's Dream Shop expanded the Iron Resurrection universe, the original series remained rooted in its mission, proving that forgotten machines, and sometimes forgotten people, still had value. In the end, Iron Resurrection wasn't just about cars. It was about taking risks and the personal toll of turning passion into a profession. As seasons progressed, cast members came and went, but the core remained intact. While newer projects like Shorty's Dream Shop expanded the Iron Resurrection universe, the original series remained rooted in its mission, proving that forgotten machines, and sometimes forgotten people, still had value. In the end, Iron Resurrection was never just about the cars, because the cast became just as loved as the builds themselves. What do you think about everything that has happened to the show's stars? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.